This is a business environment and ethical practices lecture. And in today's lecture, we'll be talking about economic growth and development. Here's the list of the topics which will be covered in this lecture. First of all, we'll understand what economic growth means. Then we'll be talking about the phases or stages of economic growth. After that, we'll be looking into types of economic growth. And last but not the least, we'll learn about economic development and the difference between economic growth and economic development. So let's first understand what economic growth means. It is basically an increase in the production of goods and services in a country over a specific period of time. And it is calculated with the help of GDP. To be most accurate, the measurement must remove the effects of inflation. Or in other words, we can say that inflation corrected GDP should be taken into account to calculate economic growth of any country. A country's general economic health can be measured by looking at the country's economic growth and development. A country's economic growth is usually indicated by an increase in the country's GDP. A country's GDP is the total monetary value of the goods and services produced by that country over a specific period of time, which is generally 1 year. Although the calculations of economic growth are done quarterly as well. So we can say that GDP is an economic model that reflects the value of a country's output. Now coming to the phases or the stages of economic growth. In 1960, the American economic historian W. Rostow suggested that countries pass through 5 stages of economic development. We can say he suggested that an economy, when it grows gradually, it passes through these stages. The first stage is traditional society, where the element of subsistence, barter trade, or agriculture based economy is seen. In this stage, generally industrialization has not happened. The country relies on agriculture. Most of the population is dependent on agriculture based activities, and modern industries are not seen there. Gradually, when they get apt with the agricultural practices, the economy or the country tends to move to the next stage, which is the transitional stage, wherein the country gets specialization in certain trades. It may be related with agriculture only or something else, but the idea is the country over the period of time has learned some good ways to get things done in any domain. For instance, agriculture. So the main characteristics of this stage is specialization, surpluses, and infrastructure development. Specialization, as I said, it could be related with agriculture or anything else. For instance, a country might learn over the period of time, it might learn to produce any specific type of grain, for example, and it becomes so good at this practice that they might start producing surplus. Infrastructure development gradually takes place, but still, since the industrialization has not happened, it is not that sophisticated. Once this practice is taken over repeatedly, the country tends to step into the third stage, which is takeoff. wherein industrialization happens at a good pace, growth in investment is seen, regional growth also takes place, and political ideology changes. And it gives the entire economy a new direction. For instance, in Europe, industrialization happened. The first industrial revolution happened in it started somewhere around 1750s, and then they, with the help of certain inventions and innovations, the European countries got specialized in certain industries. For instance, the very impact of first industrial revolution was seen in the textile industry. So that happens, and investment, growth in investment is also witnessed when countries have emerged as a like as a efficient manufacturer of certain things. So in this kind of condition, investment from within the country and also from outside the country can take place. Regional growth is seen, and political ideology also changes. Like in India, we saw 1991 economic reforms took place, and after that, with the help of LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization, India has emerged as a very strong economy in the world. After this takeoff, when these particular things happen, the country moves on to the fourth stage, which is drive to maturity, wherein the economy is seen diversifying its trades. They are now no more concentrated on certain trades or industries only. Rather, they try hands in new things as well. Innovation is seen undoubtedly when industrialization happens and more money comes into the economy. More and more private players tend to participate in the production of goods and services. Innovation also takes place. Less relies on imports. This is a very crucial thing, since the or the economy now in the stage 4 is taking benefits of industrialization. Large scale industries have been set up, good infrastructure development has taken place. So any economy would try to reduce its dependency on imports. And since they are able to produce so many things by themselves, they tend to focus more on exporting the produced goods and services and importing less. And last stage, and the fifth stage, is high mass consumption. By this stage, the country has, or the economy has developed at a very good pace, and the economy is consumer oriented now. Durable goods flourish because the economy is running at a good pace. Factors of production are being utilized more and more, and people within the economy have more money in their pockets to spend. This rise in disposable income tends to see the impact on the consumption of durable goods like cars, automobiles, infrastructure as well. People invest more in this kind of things. And service sector becomes dominant. So it's not confined to traditional manufacturing only. Service sector also tends to grow at a very good pace. According to Rostov, development requires substantial investment in capital. For the economies of low developed countries to grow, the right conditions for such investment would have to be created. If aid is given or foreign direct investment occurs at this stage 3, the economy needs to have reached stage 2. If the stage 2 has been reached, then injection of investment will lead to rapid growth. This is the economic cycle. Even if a country is a developed country like US, doesn't mean it will always be growing. There are certain phases wherein the economy, even after being the developed economy, may have to see slowdown. So this is a pictorial representation of how economies go down and then they recover and move towards prosperity. You can see after reaching peak, the the economic development might have been achieved, but it might see trough, like what happened in during 2007-8, the subprime crisis. Economies all over the world, and in most of the cases, the economies which were highly dependent on imports and exports, they saw contraction in their economic output. And countries like US, India, although India was impacted less, but yes, impact was there. They all saw the phase of slowdown. But after the the resulting factors were properly checked, the economies again recovered and moved toward prosperity. This tend to be a normal cycle, and every economy will go through this. But the duration, the timing may vary from country to country. Types of economic growth. Economic growth can be intensive. Intensive means wherein increase in growth is caused by better utilization of the existing factors of production. Means the country or the economy as a whole is not acquiring anything new. Rather, they have developed better efficiency and effectiveness, and due to that, the growth takes place. Or it could be extensive, which means increase in growth due to increase in factors of production. Now let's have a look at what economic development is. At times, economic growth and economic development, these two terms are used interchangeably, but they are not the same. And economic growth is a part, or I should say, it is a requisite for economic development. Let's have a look at what economic development is. Economic development is a broader concept than economic growth. Development reflects social and economic progress and requires economic growth. Growth is a vital and necessary condition for development, but it is not a sufficient condition, as it cannot guarantee development. In other words, we can say economic growth primarily looks at the numbers. If the GDP is growing, that means economic growth is taking place. But that doesn't mean that it is benefiting the society as whole. So certain qualitative indicators must also be taken into consideration. And economic development is all about considering those qualitative factors. According to Professor Amartya Sen, the Indian Nobel laureate, development is about creating freedom for people and removing obstacles to greater freedom. Greater freedom enables people to choose their destiny. Obstacle to freedom and hence to development include poverty, lack of economic opportunity, corruption, poor governance, lack of education, and lack of health. And in any given conditions, no economy, no country, or no government would like to see all these issues in the economy. To calculate or estimate the economic development, HDI, Human Development Index, was prepared. This is basically a model developed by Indian economist Amritya Sen, and then it was utilized by Pakistani economist Mehboob ul Haq and was further used to measure a country's development by the United Nations Development Programme's Human Development Report Office, HDR, what we call it. SDI was created to emphasize that people and their capabilities should be the ultimate criteria for assessing the development of a country, not economic growth alone. Because at times it might happen that the economic growth is seen, but it can lead to certain bad things as well. For instance, if there is uh, the gap between the rich and poor in a country is growing, that income disparity can be a very troublesome thing. Economic growth is taking place. It might happen that rich people get richer, but the poor are suffering now and were suffering earlier also. So this model basically, or the HDI, talks about that conditions for the entire society should improve. Although degree of improvement will vary from segment to segment or from person to person, but it should be mutually beneficial for everyone. The SDI can also be used to question national policy choices, asking how the countries with the same level of gross national income per capita can end up with different human development outcomes. These contrasts can stimulate debate about government policy priorities. HDI is a summary measure of average achievement in key dimensions of human development: a long and healthy life, being knowledgeable, and having a decent standard of living. The Human Development Index is the geometric mean of normalized indices for each of these three dimensions. The health dimension is assessed by life expectancy at birth. The education dimension is measured by mean of years of schooling for adults aged 25 years and more, and expected years of schooling for children of schools entering age. The standard of living dimension is measured by gross national income per capita. The SDI uses the logs of income to reflect the diminishing importance of income with increasing GNI. The scores of these three SDI dimension indices are then aggregated into a composite index using geometric mean. This is a diagrammatic representation of how these dimensions are utilized. So we can see three dimensions are there: long and healthy life, knowledge, and decent standard of living. To check these dimensions, three indicators have been developed: life expectancy at birth, and expected years of schooling, and mean years of schooling. And to check the decent standard of living, GNI per capita is taken into consideration. And we will also take this figure keeping in mind the purchasing power parity. And dimension index is life expectancy index, education index, and GNI index. And all these indexes are then further aggregated to come to the Human Development Index. HDI simplifies and captures only part of human development entails. It does not reflect on inequalities, poverty, human security, empowerment, etc. The HDRO offers the other composite indices as well as broader proxy on some of the key issues of human development like inequality, gender disparity, and poverty, because these also cannot be ignored. This is the Human Development Report Office in the year. This is the report given by HDRO for 2019. You can see the Norway is, as per HDI, is topping the chart, followed by countries like Switzerland, Ireland, Germany, Hong Kong, China. uh, Australia, Iceland, Sweden, Singapore, Netherlands. India is ranked at 129 here. So we can easily determine that good economic growth doesn't necessarily result into good economic development also. India as a country is growing fast. It's growing at a good pace, but we are still fighting with challenges like poverty, unemployment, gender disparity, and whatnot. Thank you.